I'm Eddie Cannell.
And I'm Tom Cannell.
Welcome, everyone. This is the Mortgage Brothers podcast. And today we've been asked a question many times. And that is, hey, when's my mortgage payment late? When is it considered late?
Yeah. When is it actually due? It's like the cup is half full, or half empty, late or due. But okay, so it's a little bit of semantics when you dial into it, but it's a very good common sense question. When is it due?
So every mortgage is due on the first of the month, not the second, not the fifth. It isn't like a car payment or a credit card where you could see the due dates sometime in the month. It's always the first.
Can you call up your lender and say, hey, I want it to be due on the 13th of every month because that's my birthday?
I don't know any bank that does that.
Okay. So usually always on the first, folks.
Always on the first. So your payments are due on the first. So the question is, when is it late? And when people think about late, there's two different ways to think about late. When does the bank think that you're late? And when does the credit bureau think that you're late?
Right.
Or there are different types of late. So
yeah. So how about this? Just to confuse it a little bit. You have three. We have people. When do people think they're late? When do the banks think they're late? And when do the bureaus think they're late? Because some people in their hearts, they're like, if I don't make it before the first, I'm like late. I can't have coffee. I can't go to bed. Like right. I just need it paid before the first, which is great. That's just how your clock ticks.
That's a good point. It's the second day of the month and there's panic.
Yeah.
Hey, where's my when do I make my mortgage payment? And this happens a lot of the times with your first mortgage payment, right? We close the loan, you're about to make your first mortgage payment, and sometimes there's panic.
Yeah.
Hey, when do I make my first payment?
Right.
When am I late?
Yep, exactly. Okay. So the internal clock might tell you that you're late if it's not paid before the first. But according to the lender doesn't consider it late until when?
After the 15th. If they don't receive payment, if they receive payments within the first 15 days, they're okay. They don't. So there's no penalty at all between whether they get it early or
what happens that they actually get the payment on the 15th.
I believe that they do. That is, it's after the 15th when they process your payment.
It's after the 15th. Okay. All right. And what do? They go to jail? Like on the 16th. But what happens?
So what will happen is the bank will assess, in most cases, a 5% fee. Of the 5% is of your loan payment. So if your mortgage payment's $2,000 a month, you're going to see a little fee of $100 being added on to your payment. It's a late fee. So there are people who will sometimes make their payments of their mortgages on the 10th every month or the 13th, but if they forget and it goes past the 15th, they will be assessed that fee.
So I was working with a borrower a couple months back, and I remember we were trying to figure out when we're going to close their loan, and she said to me, I never pay my mortgage payment before the 14th. And I was like, really? She said, I don't want them to have my money any sooner than they need to. So we could do a podcast on that. But that was interesting. It was literally on the 14th. I never had talked to anyone that got it so close to that late fee date.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, there are people who do that. They don't want anyone to have their money a day more than they need to.
Right.
Okay.
Those people usually have escrow waivers too, which we can do a podcast on that later.
Yeah, they don't like the bank paying their taxes and homeowners insurance
for them, right?
And that's when they get those escrow waivers. Yeah, and definitely a podcast we can talk about that.
Okay, so you don't go to jail, but there's usually a 5% fee-ish or so, a flat fee, $50, $75, something like that, if it's not paid by the 15th. And then what's the next one? When do the bureaus think it's paid?
So nothing happens to your credit. Okay, so nothing happens. The credit bureaus will never know anything about your mortgage being late, whether it's 15 days late, 20 days, 25. But the moment it goes past 1 month, they consider it a 30-day late. You will see a 30-day late the moment that month is over. So the month of October, if the payment isn't received by October 31st, it doesn't matter if it has 30 days, 31 or 28 in February, it's if they receive that payment the month after, that's when they give you a 30-day late on the credit report.
So that's a very big deal, folks. The second you go over that 30-day mark, that's when the bureaus get it. And that's the big, keep you up at night sweat factor that we want you to be thinking of.
So it's not a big deal if you get, if you pay that 5% fee for being 15 days late. It's when the credit bureaus start knocking you. Okay.
So,
and that's the first late they'll report is a 30-day late.
30-day late, right. So if you really want to live on the edge, because you always want to be like a private eye or some type of detective or super warrior, you would go all the way up until the 29th day. And you just make your mortgage payment and say, forget it. I don't care about late fees, but it'll never be reported on my credit report if I pay it on the 29th. And that's living on the edge. I would never recommend it, but that's how big of a deal that 30-day is.
Okay. So the bureaus also record if you're 60 days late, and if you're 90 days late, and if you're 120 days late. Those are typically we don't see it really beyond 120, because what happens is this: if you're 90 days late on a mortgage, all of a sudden that has then kicked in. Typically, the notice of default and foreclosure proceedings have started. The notice of foreclosure has been actually served to you, and this is after 90 days go by, and now the foreclosure proceedings start. And this is now every state's going to have different laws on foreclosure proceedings. In Arizona, it's 90 days, then you're served. Then in Arizona, you have 90 days after you're served before on the court steps, your foreclosure proceedings will start. Each state will have it. Again, slightly different rules on when those the foreclosure starts. Anyway, that's how the lates work. Each late, a 30-day late and a 60-day late, are very different when it comes to credit. The credit bureaus will kick your credit score down big time forever. It's exponentially more painful to go from a 30. It isn't like it's just double. It is a horrible when your payments go from 30 to 60. It could be double. We don't know the math, but you definitely.
Right. Okay. So you're talking about the different late buckets: 30, 60, 90. How about you make your payment 30 days late and you never catch up? Rolling lates. So that's a very, very big deal. I've had a borrower call me. They said I had one 30-day late a year ago. I said, oh, okay, only 130. I look at my little notebook and I think we'll be okay. They never actually caught up. So there were 11 30-day lates. So again, probably for another podcast, but there's a lot of things that kind of roll into the whole when's my payment due, when's it late question. But since we're talking about those buckets, I thought that'd be good.
And the question is, can you get a mortgage with a 30-day late? You can. One 30-day late is possible. 2, your chances go way down. With a 60-day late, they go again further down. It's still possible if the late was between 12 and 24 months old. But again, every single time a mortgage is late, your chances of getting approved, if that late has occurred within 24 hours or 24 months, go down a lot.
And that's just common sense tells you that if you're going to somebody saying, hey, I promise to repay you, but 7 months ago I didn't pay the person before me, or the person at that time, the next lender will take serious note of that. So those mortgage lates are super important.
If you want to talk it over with a loan officer, be sure to call us. Definitely something to discuss with your loan officer immediately. If you know this information coming forward, a lot of times customers are kind of shy about maybe credit issues or the derogatory items. Just come out and say it right when we start the conversation. Just tell your loan officer what the deal is. It's always a good practice because they'll focus on the solution and give you a straight answer and won't waste your time.
Right. Hi, my name's Dan Smith, and I have 2 lates. Just come out and say it. That really helps us.
That's right. That's all I have. And everyone have a good evening. We're out.
We're out. Have a good day, folks.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Mortgage Brothers podcast. Please let us know if you have any questions you'd like us to answer. You can email your questions to team@azmortgagebrothers.com, and be sure to ask us for a free quote on your next mortgage. We'll be sure to give you personalized service and help you through the whole process. Signature Home Loans, LLC does not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. This material has been prepared for informational purposes only. You should consult your own tax, legal, and accounting advisors before engaging in any transaction. Signature Home Loans, NMLS 1007154, NMLS number 210917 and 1618695, Equal Housing Lender.